Have you ever stopped to consider why the compulsion to explain yourself, to justify your every action, is so relentless? Why you feel the urge to respond immediately, urgently, as if your voice alone will safeguard your worth? We live in an age where noise has become the constant backdrop, a relentless flood of words drowning any chance of true connection. Everyone demands to be heard, yet no one truly listens. Worse still, silence, real silence, terrifies us. It's uncomfortable because it strips away distractions. It leaves nothing to hide behind. Think back. How many times have you reacted without thought, only to regret your words later? How often has the need to assert yourself ended in vulnerability? This is no accident, this is conditioning. You were taught that power lives in speech, that silence means submission, that quick responses equal strength. These lies have shackled you. True power does not shout, it holds its ground in the quiet. True mastery is not in volume but in restraint, deliberate silence. Because silence, when wielded with precision, is not weakness but one of the most formidable forces. The true essence of strength lies not in reaction, but in calm endurance, in remaining unshaken when chaos surrounds you. While the crowd races to fill every void with noise, the one who has learned to hold silence watches, calculates, and chooses their moment to speak, and when they do, their words resonate with authority. This is not mere theory. It's a challenge to you to stay with this silence, to resist the urge to interrupt your own reflection, to sit with the discomfort of your own thoughts. What you are about to explore is not just a concept, it is an invitation to confront the fear of your own quiet. To understand how the constant need to validate yourself through words might be chaining you to weakness and dependence. This is a hard truth, but a necessary one. The idea of power as relentless noise is a surface illusion. Real strength is found in the mastery of self, in the deliberate choice not to react. The world praises swift action, instant response, perpetual readiness, but this is a reflection of the enslaved mind, caught in cycles of impulsiveness and craving approval. The strongest among us transcend this compulsion. They do not feel compelled to explain or defend, for they have found completeness within. To react is to surrender control. To speak hastily is to reveal one's wounds, one's vulnerabilities. In contrast, silence is a fortress, active, present, unwavering. Ask yourself, do you wish to possess power? Then learn to contain yourself. Learn to witness chaos without being pulled into it. While others expend their strength on needless battles, you will cultivate your power in stillness. It is here, in the measured pause, that true mastery is born. But why is this so difficult? Why does noise seduce us, even as it fractures our peace? What lies beneath the urge to fill every moment with sound? In the next segment, we will explore the psychological roots of this phenomenon, what silence threatens to expose, and what noise desperately hides. Have you noticed how silence unsettles people? How a pause in conversation sparks anxiety? How the absence of noise can feel like a vacuum, even terrifying? This is no accident. Silence carries an undeniable psychological power. It exposes us. Humans fear the stillness because it pulls back the curtain, revealing hidden truths. Fears, doubts, regrets, the very things we try to bury beneath constant distraction. Incessant talking, relentless busyness, impulsive reactions, these are anesthetics, dulling the ache of self-confrontation. Modern psychology confirms this. The mind instinctively flees discomfort. We fill empty spaces with words, sounds, interruptions, anything to avoid the abyss of silence. And yet, it is precisely in that abyss that we find ourselves. Facing silence is facing your inner reality. It demands courage because it forces you to meet the parts of yourself you habitually avoid. This is why silence is not passivity, it is resistance. It is rebellion against a culture that equates value with volume. Silence breaks this illusion and reclaims your sovereignty, but silence alone is not enough. It must be purposeful, strategic. Without intention, silence becomes mere avoidance or fear, but with mastery, it transforms into a weapon of influence, a tool of power. In our next part, you will discover how silence can dominate not by attack, but through presence. You will learn the difference between the silence of weakness and the silence of strength. Those who have mastered silence do not fall quiet from uncertainty. They hold their peace because they have already won within. The silent master does not compete in the noise, but transcends it. Think of those rare moments when a single glance, a measured pause, or a deliberate silence reshapes a conversation. This is not magic, it is technique, rooted in understanding that less can indeed be more. In social dynamics, this is known as nonverbal status communication. Those who wield power speak less, pause longer, and weigh their words like precious metals because they understand that they do not need to convince others. They only need to create doubt. Silence is not absence. It is amplified presence. But it requires a foundation, an inner solidity built in solitude. Because true silence is born not from escape, but from deep, conscious solitude. Many fear loneliness, seeing it as punishment. They fill every moment with distractions, fearing the encounter with themselves, but solitude is a crucible of transformation, a sacred space where the spirit is forged. The one who cannot endure solitude cannot claim freedom. Freedom demands strength, the courage to be whole without external validation, the bravery to exist without witnesses. In this solitude, silence becomes alchemy. Here, the noise fades, and the self begins to emerge raw, unmasked, unfiltered. The ordinary flee loneliness, the strong seek it, knowing that only in the depths of isolation can one find true order amid chaos. And from this well of solitude, silence gains weight. It becomes not a shield, but an extension of presence, an unshakable power that no external turmoil can disrupt. Silence from this place does more than protect, it heals, it purifies. It dissolves the unnecessary and reveals the hidden. It exhausts noise by simply outlasting it. But silence reaches an even higher form when it becomes language itself, a silent message louder than any shouted word. In the next part, we will explore how silence can speak volumes without uttering a sound, becoming your most potent form of communication. There are moments when silence is not empty space but a force that fills the room, suffocating egos, stripping away pretense. It asserts itself without a word, rendering opposition powerless. This is the silence of omission, a statement made by refusing to engage. It says, with quiet elegance, "You do not deserve my energy." This is not arrogance. It is hierarchy. In a world desperate to be heard, those who choose silence rise above the noise. They do not compete, they dominate. Have you witnessed how a single silent response can unravel an aggressor's composure? How provocation met with stillness only fuels their anxiety and reveals their insecurity. Silence is a mirror reflecting their lack of control and your serene strength. But be cautious, this is not silence born of fear or avoidance. It is silence born of power. It is the silence of one who has already won the battle within. Moreover, silence amplifies speech. A single word after a prolonged pause carries weight no torrent of words can match. Words are symbols. Silence is the symbol of the ungraspable, the beyond language. It is the realm of those who no longer need to prove anything. Finally, the greatest mastery is when silence becomes identity, not hiding, but transcending. True strength dwells not in display, but in felt presence. The silent one changes the environment by simply being. This path is lonely. It demands swimming against the tide of urgency and distraction. It demands enduring emptiness until you realize that this emptiness is full of you. Then, everything changes. Impulses lose their grip. Words gain precision. The need for validation fades. You stop chasing voices because your voice is not a plea, it is a command. Now I ask you, will you continue to drown in noise, or will you embrace silence as your greatest weapon? Will you keep surrendering your power to provocation, or will you reclaim your mind and your peace? If this message challenges you, if it stirs something within, I invite you to affirm it with a simple comment: I choose silence. Those who understand will recognize the strength in that choice. Your journey doesn't end here. The next step awaits deeper, more profound, because your evolution demands it, and the world is waiting for the power only you can wield. The moment you embrace silence as power, you step onto a path few dare to tread. It is not the path of least resistance, nor is it the path that promises easy comfort. Silence demands sacrifice, the sacrifice of incessant chatter, of habitual reaction, of the desperate need for approval. But in this sacrifice, there is liberation. You break the chains forged by external validation and social expectation, reclaiming the most precious resource you own, your attention. Attention is the currency of power. Every word you utter, every reaction you give, is a transaction. When you scatter your attention in noise, you dilute your presence, you fragment your energy. But when you direct your attention inward, when you cultivate silence, you gather your power like a flame in the dark. It is concentrated, it is potent, it commands respect without demand. The paradox is this: to gain control, you must first relinquish control over the impulse to speak. This is the paradox of mastery, the ability to say less, so that when you finally speak, it carries weight beyond measure. Consider the way nature speaks in silence, the stillness before a storm, the pause before a predator strikes. These moments are pregnant with meaning because they are rare, deliberate, and intentional. This silence is a form of presence that cannot be manufactured or faked. It comes from knowing yourself so deeply that you are not thrown off by the external world. You have anchored your identity in the unshakable foundation of self-possession. This foundation is built in solitude, honed through reflection, and tested through discipline. Discipline is often misunderstood. It is not mere restriction or denial, but a conscious choice to direct your energy where it matters most. Discipline is the architect of silence. It is what allows you to resist the seductive call of noise, the addictive dopamine hit of immediate reaction, of social media scrolls, of meaningless chatter. Each moment you resist, you build resilience. Each pause you hold is a victory. Power is not given, it is claimed, and silence is one of its primary weapons. When you withhold your words, you withhold your energy. Others will rush to fill the void, revealing their motives, their fears, their weaknesses. This is the power of the unspoken. It forces others to expose themselves, while you remain inscrutable, immune to manipulation. Yet silence is not just about others. It is also about your relationship with yourself. In a world designed to fragment your attention, silence restores wholeness. It allows you to listen to your own inner voice, to discern your true desires from the noise of societal expectation. In silence, you cultivate clarity. Clarity is a form of power often overlooked. Confusion breeds indecision, weakness, and surrender, but clarity cuts through chaos like a sharpened blade. It reveals what is essential and discards what is superfluous. With clarity, you make decisions that align with your deepest values, not with fleeting emotions or external pressures. But how do you cultivate this clarity? It begins by observing your own mind. Notice the endless chatter within the stories, the judgments, the fears. Do not fight it, simply observe without attachment. This practice, often called mindfulness, is the gateway to silence. By watching your thoughts without engagement, you create space between stimulus and response. This space is where mastery resides. In that space, you choose your reaction. You are no longer a slave to impulse, but a sovereign of your inner world. This sovereignty transforms every interaction. You move through life with intentionality, not reactivity. Intentionality turns silence from a passive state into an active strategy. It becomes a form of communication more powerful than words. Silence invites curiosity, commands respect, and demands presence. It shifts dynamics, redefines relationships, and recalibrates power. Consider how often silence can disrupt toxic patterns. When confronted with provocation, a measured pause diffuses tension. When faced with manipulation, refusal to engage denies the manipulator fuel. When navigating conflict, silence signals strength and patience. This is not coldness or detachment, but a profound engagement with reality on your terms. It is the refusal to be drawn into petty battles or meaningless noise. It is the recognition that your energy is precious and must be guarded. But guarding your energy does not mean shutting the world out. Rather, it means choosing when and how to engage. The silent master is not isolated but selectively connected. They are present fully where it matters and absent where it does not. This selective presence magnifies their influence. The mastery of silence also requires embracing discomfort. Silence can be unsettling because it exposes you to yourself. The human mind craves distraction because raw self-awareness can be painful. You may uncover fears, insecurities, or desires that have been buried. This is the crucible of transformation. Pain, when faced squarely, becomes the forge of strength. In silence, you confront your shadows not to be overwhelmed, but to be integrated. This integration brings wholeness, healing, and authenticity. Authenticity is the ultimate expression of power. When you no longer hide behind noise, pretenses, or masks, you become magnetic. People sense your integrity and gravitate toward your presence. You no longer need to convince. Your very being is persuasion. Yet, authenticity requires courage. It means standing exposed, vulnerable, yet unbroken. It means owning your truth even when it conflicts with popular opinion. It means being comfortable with who you are, not who others want you to be. This courage grows in silence. It is nurtured by solitude and disciplined reflection. It is tested through deliberate choice in every moment of speech and silence. Every time you resist the urge to speak out of fear or insecurity, you strengthen this courage. Every moment you choose presence over distraction, you deepen your authenticity. This is a journey, not a destination. Along this journey, you will encounter resistance. The world around you may not understand your silence. Friends, family, colleagues might pressure you to conform to noise, to react, to engage in superficial chatter. This is a test of your resolve. Stand firm. Remember that the world's need for noise is often a reflection of its own insecurity and fear. Your silence can be a beacon of calm and strength in a storm of chaos. As you cultivate silence, you will also begin to notice a profound shift in how you perceive time. The frantic rush of modern life slows down. Moments become fuller, richer, more textured. You develop patience, not the passive waiting of boredom, but active, engaged patience. This patience allows you to wait for the right moment to act, to speak, to move. It saves your energy from being squandered on trivialities. It heightens your awareness, sharpening your intuition and strategic thinking. Intuition is another gift silence bestows. When the mind is quiet, your deeper instincts emerge with clarity. You begin to sense what is unsaid, to read between the lines, to anticipate outcomes before they unfold. This strategic advantage cannot be overstated. Those who rush to speak or act often reveal their hand prematurely. The silent master holds their cards close, revealing only what serves their purpose. This approach extends beyond personal interactions into all aspects of life. Business, leadership, creativity all flourish under the guidance of silent mastery. Leaders who speak less but mean more inspire loyalty and respect. Creators who listen deeply produce work of profound impact. Moreover, silence cultivates resilience. In times of crisis, when noise and panic swirl, those grounded in silence remain steady. They do not succumb to pressure, but harness it. They are like a mountain unmoved by the storm, a deep river flowing unperturbed by the wind. This resilience is essential in a world where volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, VUCA, have become the norm. Silence is not escapism, but preparation, a way to equip yourself to face chaos with clarity and strength. Yet, silence is a discipline, and like any discipline, it requires practice. Begin with small moments, a pause before responding, a day without social media noise, a deliberate period of solitude. These practices build your capacity for silence incrementally. Over time, these moments compound. Silence becomes not just a tool but a state of being. It infiltrates your daily life, reshaping your relationships, your work, your sense of self. But beware the trap of false silence. Silence used to avoid conflict, to suppress emotions, or to hide weakness. This is silence without power. It is silence born of fear, not mastery. True silence demands honesty and courage. It invites confrontation with uncomfortable truths, not escape from them. It is a dynamic state, not a static void. And so, the mastery of silence is the mastery of self. It is a revolution within, a reclaiming of agency in a noisy world. It is a declaration that you will no longer be swept away by the tides of distraction or the demands of others. In silence, you find freedom. Freedom from the tyranny of external validation. freedom from compulsive reaction, freedom from the exhausting cycle of noise. This freedom is not given. It is earned through discipline, courage, and unwavering commitment to your inner truth. Imagine the power you could wield if you mastered this art. Imagine moving through life unshaken, unhurried, fully present. Imagine the respect you would command, not through loud assertion, but through quiet confidence. This is the path of the silent master. It is difficult, demanding, and deeply rewarding. You are at the threshold of this path now. The choice is yours, to continue in the noise or to embrace silence and power. If you choose silence, know that it will change you. It will strip away the unnecessary and reveal your essence. It will demand strength, but give you strength in return. This is your invitation, to pause, to reflect, to choose silence as your ally. Your journey begins with a single moment of quiet. Will you take it?